Hey guys, Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Not entirely sure. Might have a couple of Dawn of X books to show you guys. What's going on, everybody? Ay, so let's see what we got here. We have got a couple people in the chat. Bruce, Michael, what's up? And I have got three books here for the Dawn of X review. I've got Excalibur issue number 7. I have got X-Force issue number 7. And I've got X-Men issue number 6. Day late, dollar short. Never mind, just a day late. Still the same price. So let's get started. Let's do the X-Men first. This is a hot book. This book's on fire, man. So we get a whole bunch in here with Destiny, which is a good thing because there's a whole bunch coming in. TDH, what's up? Okay, here we go. So Jonathan Hickman is the writer. Matteo Buffagni is the artist. Sonny Rowe on colors. VC's Clayton Cowles doing the letters. Tom Mueller on design. Lanil Francis Yu and Sonny Rowe on the covers and variant cover artists. The Oracle. This issue is called The Oracle because, Destiny's in this. Raven, what's up, Raven? Tank Nielsen is also here. What's going on? I don't know, man. I think you and me are going to disagree on some stuff here. This is real talk. I think we're actually going to disagree. There's going to be a whole bunch of people going to be like, man, Mystique's going to mess everything up. At the same time, is it really Mystique messing things up? Let's engage. So Mystique is talking to her wife, Destiny. You know what I'm saying? And they sitting down and they chilling out and they're all like, okay, let's check it out. We got all this stuff going on, all right? And I'm seeing into the future. Mind you, don't forget that Destiny came to Moira that one time. Okay, when she was on her second life. It wasn't her first life, it was her second life. And she was like, hey, listen, check this out. Moira, you are a mutant. You know the stuff, and you were doing all this stuff to try and make a cure for mutants because you were trying to cure yourself. And that's just some stuff that we do, that mutants try to do. Some mutants try to make cures for themselves because you don't think that you're real. Listen, that's not really the case. Okay, here's the deal. You're actually mutant, you're actually good people, blah, 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 whatever. But I see a whole bunch of different futures in the future for you. And I see that you're going to do some bad stuff and you're going to do some good stuff, and you got to eventually get there. But the rest of this life really isn't going to do anything special for you. So I'm simply going to burn you to death right now so that you'll remember this forever and understand how this works. So Moira clearly has a bug in her butt for Destiny. She's not a huge fan of Destiny, but as it were, it is what it is. All things being what they are, she Moira McTaggart knows that if the X-Men have any precogs around, then they're going to be able to look into the future and see that the X-Men lose every single time. That's a damn shame. The trick of that whole thing is this is also blinding the X-Men. On top of that, the X-Men they're still doing the party, and hey, let's get it on. You know what I'm saying? This is Comic Book University after dark. So there's a whole lot of let's get it on. I'd like to be under the sea in an octopus's garden in the shade. There you go. They're alt fact. So anyway, the idea is that the X-Men are so busy partying hardy that they, for the most part, haven't noticed that the precogs aren't there. That seems kind of weird, you know? Anyway, so the X-Men haven't realized it yet. The trick is the shadiest person on this entire island is undeniably Moira. She's the shadiest person there. She's counting on Professor X not reading her mind and checking all this other stuff out that she knows, right? Because it's respectful. But meanwhile, he's so certain that Moira is telling the truth and all of this stuff that he hasn't bothered to investigate further. Magneto isn't interested in investigating further. He also has some telepathy. Maybe they've retconned that out, but he used to at least be able to astral project. He used to be able to have some form of telepathic ability. It was like 1/10 of what Charles could do, but still, And I mean, like, Apocalypse, like Mr. Sinister, all these people are completely subservient to Moira in one way, shape, or form or another. And that's kind of disheartening, you know? And she's playing them. She knows each and every one of them because she's lived entire lifetimes, multiple times with them. And it's a freaking weird thing. So anyway, the X-Men have essentially blinded themselves by following one vision as opposed to looking at everybody's vision. There are many opportunities that Destiny could say, okay, we're about to go up on top of that thing, and Cyclops and all the other X-Men are going to wind up being killed when they go up there. So as soon as that happens, boom, bring them back. And oh, it turns out that such and such is going to appear. So if that happens, it would be really cool if you had somebody else, another team member on here, like this team member. Maybe forearm suddenly is important, right? And it's like we need somebody with 4 arms to go and like take somebody out. So all of a sudden, boom, they go up there. Say anything like that. And it's not just Destiny. There's a few, but they don't want any of the precogs there because otherwise it's going to take away hope from the X-Men. That's just like from the mutants. That's such a weird thing because mutants have always lived so I don't know about vicariously, but like, come on, man. You're literally taking their future. So this is it, for me, like it's just really freaking weird. That being said, Professor X still super manipulative. Magneto, I mean, come on, he's always been manipulative. But Professor X, mind you now, anyway, they're going to send Mystique because apparently she's the only one who can infiltrate, right? Nobody else can do that. Okay, fine, 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 fine. So they send Mystique to go in and to infiltrate the Orcus lab again. Now it's very cool because they give. I pointed this out. They give the idea that the Mercury has several orbiting satellites that have what do you call it? And that's fair. That works. Mercury actually isn't that hot, not as hot as Venus is because there's no greenhouse gases. But there's a couple orbiting satellites there, so they actually have reinforcements to the sun for where the main Orcus base is, where they're actually making the uh uh blah 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 whatever stuff. Yeah, let me see what's going on up in here. Um so anyway, so they can show the reinforcements there, and they're going to try and make another mother mold and all that good stuff, and they're actually bypassing that stuff. Something really weird is happening in here. Now I don't know if this is actually, it looks like it's actually happening, but more what do you call it, they showed that when Mystique went up there, she planted one of the plants on that Orca station so they can always go back and forth immediately instead of taking the ship and flying in, because they would certainly have defenses next time. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on me, right? So they're easily going to have all sorts of defenses up there because the X-Men now know where they are. Okay, that makes sense. So instead, here's a new way to get on back and forth with that plant. Mystique goes on. She transforms into one of the regular old people. She meets up with Director Devo. Hey, what's up? How you doing? And then she's going to go over and she's going to hang out with the McGregor chick, whatever it is, the one whose husband died, like trying to shoot down the X-Men and blowing up the freaking the Blackbird. Yeah, all sorts of crazy nonsense there. Anyway, so Mystique, Raven Darkholme, she's walking around and she's just like, oh, let's see, we got all this stuff, we got this stuff, and she's looking, it's like, oh, look, they're making a Nimrod. And then McGregor is about to go to sleep and she walks up with a knife like, yeah, I could kill her right now, but I'm not gonna. I'm not gonna. And we don't know if she actually did or not. But the idea is she's like, I'm not gonna. So she leaves. She comes back. She's like, okay, I found all this stuff. Here's the thing. I am not doing one more thing for you until you give her back to me. Give me back Destiny. Like at some point, they gotta recognize what's up. And here's the super ultimate freaking ridiculous messed up stuff. This is where Professor X, mind you, Professor X, who I imagine most of you guys have seen the Was Cyclops Right comic book courtroom that I did, right? In there, it was brought up. Look at how manipulative Charles Xavier has been, recruiting child soldiers his whole life. Get more than anybody else, being that father figure for Scott and filling his head with all these specific ideas and whatnot. All this, the lives that he sacrificed, many of them children, for his dream. Man, I'm just saying, all these crazy things going on, being manipulative, going up and is like, hey, Scott, I'm back alive, surprise. And, you got the Phoenix Force. And then he's going to go and sit there and say to Moira, to Mystique. And we've seen this in the first episodes, the first issues of these Dawn of X books, the Hoxpox books. And he's like, hey, so check this out. Isn't helping mutants enough? And she says, no, it's not. We didn't understand what it was back then. Now we understand. My peeps, I'm serious when I say this. This is this chick's wife. This is the love of her life. Anybody remember those X-Men comic books from way back in the 80s when they were together, the Freedom Force and all that stuff, right? Like these two really loved each other. They had some of the best times. You remember when she took her ashes and she was like on the, I think it was, she was on the boat, right? She went and she threw the ashes into the water and the wind reversed and went into her face and all that stuff. And she's like coughing on her ashes. And she's like, I bet you see, she's laughing. She's laughing, so much. She's like, I bet you saw this coming, didn't you? You knew this was going to happen and you laughed before you died, knowing that that was going to happen. That's messed up. Like, this is like she loves this girl. And all this time she's been without her and she just wants her back. Some of you guys are married and you understand what I'm saying. All right. Some of you ladies, some of you guys, whatever. How about this? If you're not married, what if it was your mother? What if your mother was a precog and he ain't bringing him back? And this dude goes and sits there and starts saying, Professor X, as manipulative as he is, haven't you stabbed enough mutants in the back and wrecked our agenda enough just for your own personal needs and desires? Haven't you betrayed us enough? Yo, man, you got Apocalypse on this team right now. You got Mr. Sinister over there. Isn't that Sebastian Shaw? And ain't nobody seen, not even Moira, ain't nobody seen that he killed Kitty Pryde and Lockheed. Those covers we're yet to see, issue number 8 of the Marauders. But like, we got all these evil people all over the place. Isn't that Magneto right next to you? Oh, he's my friend. Your friend is a terrorist. Your friend is one of the biggest terrorists in comic books. Like the only person who's alive today in the comic books who stacks up against Magneto is the Red Skull. That's real talk, baby. That's real talk. This dude's been put on trial, and they're like, we're gonna let you go because we think you're being cool. And he turns right around. Oh, let's start messing some people up. Reggie Simmons, what's going on? Thank you for the $5 super chat. Very much appreciated. Oop. Boom, right up there. Aw, Josh, I love you too, man. With the gun? What's up with that? With you got the gat? Dude. Show some love, man. We don't need all that. So anyway, we got all sorts of crazy stuff going on right with this Professor X cat. And he's talking about, haven't you done enough harm? This gaslighting mother fathead. This gaslighting mother fathead talking about, Mystique, aren't you technically the worst person on this entire island? And he knows that he's lying to her. He knows that he's not going to bring her back. Yo, I'm telling you right now, I don't need jurors. I don't need lawyers. I don't need defense for this dude. I am prosecuting this cat right now. Professor X is straight up the most devilish person on that island. Technically, it's Moira. But this Professor X is basically a chump who's super devilish and manipulating people. Like, how messed up is that? I see a very excellent comment down here. Boom. What's up with that? How far would you go to protect your own species? I don't know. I think I would go far enough to take a quick search inside of this person's mind and say, or at least say, Moira, I would like to look into your mind again. And I would like to delve a little bit further instead of just trusting you, because it's our species. So no, I can't give Professor X the teeniest, tiniest bit of leeway in this. And I know who Mystique is. Dude, I'm not walking outside to pick up a frozen Mystique and put her next to my fire. Because I ain't trying to have somebody turn around and bite me, talk about you knew what I was when you brought me in. It ain't happening. It ain't happening. Right? He should be nice enough to do it undetected. That's what I'm saying. Why does he have to ask? Because it's invasion of privacy, But at the end of the day, the thing is, like for me, if somebody comes up to me and says, "Okay, listen, check this out. Your whole family's going to die tomorrow, so you got to do this." I'm thinking, okay, but can I have some proof? Because otherwise, you're telling me to go over here. Maybe that's where I'm going to die. Let me decipher the information for myself. What's going on? I'm saying, all right? I don't think that's too much to ask. But Professor X, he's a manipulative, gaslighting chump. The dude's a straight up chump, and it's a shame. It's a shame. So she decides that she's not going to do that. And then we finally see, and I love the way that Hickman does this. I'm sorry, guys. I know I'm really tired right now. I'm talking slow and everything. I'm really tired. I was out all day. But anyway, check this out. Homeboy comes along and he says, what do you call it? Hickman. Homeboy comes along and he says, listen, here's this part of the story up to here. Stop. Here's this part of the story up to here. Stop. Now here's the rest of that. Now here's the rest of that. Oh! Mystique was wise enough because remember, Moira gets to reincarnate. Destiny sees the future. She doesn't see the past. So she does not recall that she went up several lifetimes ago, to Moira and said, "Hey, I'm gonna set you on fire, and I want you to think about your life. All right, get yourself in order." Nah, that's not what happened. She doesn't remember any of that stuff. Destiny doesn't remember any of that. So all she knows is what was about to happen in the future. In the far distant future, long after I'm dead, this is what's going to happen. And if these guys refuse to bring me back, burn it to the ground. Now, I know you might, there's a bunch of people going to be saying, but burning it to the ground, that's so messed up. It's the survival of the species. What if Destiny was right and Moira is wrong? What if? Because think about, we've been talking about this for a while, guys. What is Krakoa? It's this giant mutant eating monster. And they're giving just enough of their life force collectively for it to be like, cool, I'm operating at the minimum. I know that when I was in the military, used to operate on the minimum all the time. I still operate on the minimum amount of sleep, but not the minimum amount of food. How many people here can condition themselves to be able to say, listen, the minimum amount of sleep that humans need is approximately 4 hours. So I'm good. The minimum amount of food is about, let's say, like 3 fat spoonfuls of food. So I'm good. How many people out there can do that? Because I'll tell you, I don't want to. I sure as hell don't want to. And the only way I would is if I had to. This big Krakoan island mutant-eating monster. I get it that there's all these safeguards in place, but I'm saying this thing's got a voracious appetite. And to be operating at the middle in this symbiotic, life form situation, anything can make it so that, that's not working. You look at the Excalibur book that I'm going to be looking at, we're going to be looking at in a moment. You look at what Apocalypse is doing. You look at all the little subtle things that was happening in the Fallen Angels book, what Sinister's doing behind everybody's back, the information that he now has. What's he going to do with that Apoth? What's he going to do with that? Dude, there's some shady, suspect stuff going on. And I'm reading this stuff, and I know there's a whole bunch of people just looking at the surface of this. Nah, bro. I'm sitting there with my magnifying glass and my detective's hat, looking like Detective Chimp, with better facial hair. And I'm just like, dude, I'm going to uncover this. I'm going to get to the bottom of this mystery. And that's all this is a fat mystery. Meanwhile, Professor X, who still seems to care more about the humans than he does about his own kind. Oh, we can't kill them, but they could kill us. They could skin us alive and do all sorts of terrible, devious things to us. But that's all right. We good. Boom. We're gonna break over into the X-Force issue number 7 book. Let's see. Let's find where this stuff is. And you want to talk about some shady stuff? I'm saying, man, nobody's good in this. Benjamin Percy is the writer. He's kind of good. Oscar Bazaldoa, he's kind of awesome on art. Guro FX, color art, letters by VC's Joe Caramagna, and Tom Mueller doing the design. Covers, Dustin Weaver and Mike Delgado, and Nick Russell's doing production. Hickman's still head of X. This issue is called Domino Has Fallen. Guys, I can't help but to say, this isn't like the best drawn cover in the world, but like it's a beautiful cover and I love it. I love it. So in this issue, X-Force, Colossus is doing his thing again where he's just like in the middle of the night, he's painting because he can't sleep. He's a troubled soul. He's a really good artist, and he's a hot, big hunka burning mutant. And some poor lady comes running by, and she's like, I'm swooning, and I'm so tired, and I can't stand my life. And oh, look at beautiful young Peter, and he's brooding and painting. Okay, I believe I'm back now. That was frustrating. So, yeah, the what do you call it? Probably outside. There's all the snow plows and whatnot going crazy. Anyway, so I'm back. The whole thing that I was saying was that what's her face? Freaking yeah, we see you. Awesome. Thank you, Rel. Genuinely appreciate that. Everybody. Boom, 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 boom. Okay, cool. So anyway, no more spoilers, teardrops. Oh, like, but that's what I'm doing here. It says spoilers. So anyway, yeah, all these crazy freaking things going on. she's of course going to fall in this guy's arms. She actually doesn't though. And she's not looking too hot. I'm like, like half her body's all burnt up and whatnot. She's burnt the hell up, damn it. So she's like, this was I'm looking at this as Chekhov's gun. You know what I'm saying? This is literally just she's running by, she's chilling out with him. They don't really do anything, and then she just runs off again. Okay, cool. She run off. And at the end of the day, I just look at it as um what have you. Like nothing this doesn't nothing becomes of this for the most part, you know? Hopefully something's gonna be coming of it. Hopefully, like, these two are gonna wind up getting back together and stuff like that. It'd be cool. It'd be cool to see that. But for now, she's just psh, whatever. The only thing that we actually get from this is that we find out a little bit more about Colossus and what happened. This hopefully is going to turn to something really awesome also. Because mind you, we knew in general that he went and he stopped a tank blast from shooting at him as they were trying to hurt the mutants and whatnot. And then he goes back and he's being healed by Healer and all this other good stuff, you know? But for the most part, like, it didn't really do anything. It didn't really do anything. I want to know why this was so traumatic for him. Did he see people like murdered in his hand? Because like they kind of insinuated, but I want to see more. I want to know why more. Why like Colossus has seen a bunch of crazy stuff before, right? Are we ignoring that? Because if we are, let me know. Let me know what's going on, Hickman. What's going on, Percy? In the meantime, so that happens, sure. Anyway, Domino's trying to deal with her own stuff, and she's what you call it. She comes to realize that someone had stolen her luck power. It doesn't mean that she doesn't have any luck. Oh, she has luck, but now she has bad luck. And it's interesting because they didn't explain that until the very end of the book, by the way that we actually see what's happening and whatnot. So the person who did steal her luck, who basically stole her skin, is going around and is straight up just like assassinating like once every week or two. So there's plenty of travel time and whatnot, finding mutant sympathizers, the loudest of the mutant sympathizers, and assassinating them in all sorts of crazy luck-based way. Driving by high speed on a motorcycle and pop, saying like, wow, you know, all sorts of crazy freaking things like that. So this is cool. Domino doesn't have her, her good luck powers anymore. She's only got the bad luck, but she also knows how her powers have always worked. So she goes up to Sage and says, listen, basically probability is just a form of math, and it is. So could you by chance find an algorithm to see where all these different, spots are and see if you can triangulate a pattern where it's going to appear next? And she does. And she goes up there and she rescues somebody. And this is where all of a sudden we see that Domino essentially becomes 007, baby. I love this. I love this. This is hot, man. So she's straight up like she's doing all these crazy spy versus spy things, and she's doing the sliding board, the snowboard or whatever, and trying to, face down this person who's going after her. And of course, this person does get away using the luck manipulation powers, but how exactly does she do all this stuff? How does this person do this? Now, this is crazy. This is the person who stole Mystique's luck powers. Did they just make a clone of her? This is the freakiest thing imaginable. Literally, she's going after herself. She's going after herself, and she doesn't even realize it yet. Now, when we talk about the whole trust issues, you really have to pay attention to the stuff that's happening, the white pages, all right, where they've got the letters and all this stuff, and this is the stuff that Beast is doing. Beast is going around and he's making these basically it's like this little paper, this like paperweight rock stuff, this interesting material that will absorb sound similar to the way, vibrations sound, similar to the way that vibranium works. These little stones that he can just place in different places, different locations, and then he can essentially spy on people. He's probably got a little recording device next to them and everything. He's talking about, okay, I'm going to put one here, I'm going to put one here, I'm going to put one in the White House, I'm going to put them all over the place. He's also putting him in his fellows' residences and whatnot. He is literally spying on everyone. The Beast is getting his rocks off. Dude, it's like you can't trust nobody. The time when the mutants were like think about this. In this book right here, Excalibur issue number 7, Betsy Braddock, the new Captain Britain, she goes down into this cellar area where Apocalypse is hiding, and it's like, hey, what's up? Hey, what's Exodus doing here? He's here because he can. But she doesn't just right away go, oh, Exodus. She just walks down there. She's like, what's this crazy person who's tried to kill me on multiple occasions doing down here? There are a whole bunch of radical changes to the status quo in these comic books, in so much as the X-Men aren't worried about dying anymore. It's always been said, we're X-Men, we always get better. Oh, I died, but I got better. You know what I'm saying? Death is, for the most part, mostly meaningless in the comic books. It's only the way of the death that actually matters usually. With X-Men, more than anybody else, death has always been essentially meaningless. They've always come back. X-Men always come back. And now this is literally as in the forefront as possible. Don't be concerned with death. We're going to kill a bunch of people in the beginning of these books. We're going to, really mess with your ear hole, and then we're going to bring them back and show you it's cool. I can't wait to see what's going to happen in the next issue of Marauders, to see how exactly they're going to do, because there's no way they're really going to kill Kitty. Are they? Are they? Anyway, we're going to see, because they're showing that this big deal of death doesn't matter anymore. It's cool. And they're also changing, other versions of the status quo in this. And I love seeing these changes. So you don't have to, mutant on mutant crime, mutant on mutant hate and violence. It doesn't exist anymore. Maybe in some small part, like in the recent Excalibur book, when Rogue had to absorb freaking Apocalypse, and all that. You know what I'm saying? There's stuff like that. Anyway, so in this book, Excalibur, this is usually the book that I dislike the most. I like this the least. Tini Howard on writing, Milton Santos on pencils. What happened to Marcus Toe? I was not made aware of this. Oren Jr. on inks, Eric Arcianega on colors, VC's Corey Petit on letters, and the design is Tom Mueller. Cover art, Muhammad Asrar and Matthew Wilson. Variant cover, Ben Oliver. Only one variant cover now. Wow. And this is, chapter 7, verse 7, the unspeakable and the uneatable, as opposed to the inedible. That's really weird. But it says the uneatable. That's strange talk. Anyway, whatever. Maybe it's a mistake. Maybe it's a who cares. I'm seeing now, like, my vision is starting to get blurry. Like, I am really freaking tired. So I'm going to try and wrap this up as quickly as I can. Yeah, I hear you, Alan. I thought about dropping Excalibur, but I kept it. I kept going because I'm good. Anyway, you can see by the cover, the Warwolves come back. It's funny, there are only a few issues of the original Excalibur run that I actually liked. Sorry, trying to keep myself awake. I mostly didn't like Excalibur. I went back and I read some things because, they're dealing with the Earth 616 and all the other Earths. It was in the pages of Excalibur where we got the idea that this place where the X-Men and all the humans of that Marvel universe is the Earth 616. That's the designation. That's their nomenclature. And there's all sorts of other Earths and parallel universes and everything, and they've all got their own designation also. But this is Earth 616. Where we live is Earth 1214. But for the most part, boom, we got all that stuff from the Excalibur books. So I went back and I did see this stuff mostly on Reddit to learn about how that stuff works years ago. But one of the stories that I did always like with the X-Men or with Excalibur was when they went to the Mojoverse and they came across the Warwolves. Those were always cool characters to me. They're just the freakiest looking thing. I love them, and they're sneaky evil as hell, wearing other people's skin, and then, I'm going to kill you now. And then and after I kill you and drain you, I'm going to take your skin and I'm going to wear it. Like, it's the freakiest freaking stuff. And it's like, it should be horror. But look at them, they're actually kind of cute. and they would eat your hand off. I mean, like, it's terrifying. So I always loved the werewolves. So we get a really good werewolf at start, and we haven't seen werewolves in a long time, I think. At least I haven't. So yeah, I'm looking at this, and the one part where Gambit's almost getting jacked up, I'm like, wow, man, wow. There's some genuinely freaky scenes that show up in here, as they're actually hunting these freaking guys. But like, look at some of this stuff. Look at these pages. He's hanging out with this chick. It's like, hey, what's up? And it's like, dude, why are you trying to hang out with this girl? You know you're with Rogue. What's going on? And then she just boop. What is it? This page here? She just takes off her skin. It's like, hey, I'm a werewolf. And I'm gonna jack you up, Gambit. Like, dude, that was freaking awesome. I loved that. I absolutely loved that scene. Um, yeah, I know somebody said they got like 4 or 5 pages in and just dropped it, like, "Forget it, I'm done." I understand, I get it, I genuinely do, I get it. But anyway, as far as this book is concerned, I really enjoyed this book. Everything that happened in this book for the most part. I was reading along, I didn't get bored reading any moment of this. There were some things in here that were hard to understand, but then Betsy will say something like, "Wait, what?" And it's like, never mind. All you need to know is such and such and such. So I have to give credit where credit's due. Teenie Howard literally made the most confusing parts, the parts where Betsy or somebody would say, huh? So that you understood that it was meant to be confusing. Okay, I dug on that. And there's a lot of stuff in here that I did dig. There's one part where one hyphen and then later two hyphens are used, and they're used perfectly. And I know that means nothing to probably anybody who's watching, but as an English professor, give me my moments, okay? Give me like every so often, like I do all this stuff for you guys. Once in a while, give me a freaking moment, all right? Anyway, um, yeah, the hunt and everything, how they handle Drogo at one part. At one point, Betsy goes up and it's like, "Hey, Jubilee, come on, let's go." And they're like, "Not Drogo, Shogo." It's like, "Hey, I can't because I got to feed Shogo, and he doesn't want to come back. When I bring him back, he turns into a regular baby and he cries all the time. He wants to come back here and be a dragon." It's like, "Is that such a bad thing?" Yes, yes, it is. It's like, okay, fine. What's going on? Well, he won't eat. Here's a dragon. She takes up the big chunk of meat, the leg of lamb, whatever it is, and goes, "Ah," and throws it. He fetches it and eats it. Duh. That easy, right? I love like little scenes like that. I love that. I love that. So, and then of course they decide, hey, we'll just use Megan as a babysitter. Megan's not in the book, so it happened off panel. Whatever, let's get moving. And the final thing that I really liked is I am noticing that Teenie Howard is making changes to all of these characters who, for the most part, can be kind of boring. They can be a little bit boring. Look, Betsy Braddock, she no longer has Quanon in her. She's boring. But then all of a sudden it's like, oh, wait, she's Captain Britain now. Wait, what? And there was a weird scene in the beginning where she's burying the one sword, and it's like, dude, you know that if you bury a sword, somebody else could just come and dig it up. Saying. So I think that's all really weird. And when Captain Britain handed the medallion over to Betsy in the first issue, and she became Captain Britain, couldn't she just hand it back and then she take the sword? Because like that's kind of what they did in the previous issue. So how come that's just ignored now? Like I don't understand what I'm reading sometimes. Like when I saw that, I really just didn't get that to me, you know? Chillmonger, you and I 100% agree on this. Boom. Um, anyway, so bang, she is an underrated character. I completely agree. But all that being said, and hey, another shapeshifter, right? And I'm sure she'd do whatever Professor X told her to do. I'm saying. So yeah, they changed Captain Britain, but they also went and changed Richter, and they made him this Earthbender Druid guy. I'm down with that. I enjoyed that. That's cool. You know, it's good stuff. And then what do you call it? They changed a couple characters in here. I'm trying to look at the front cover. Who else did they change? They changed Shogo, you know, into a dragon. That's cool. They didn't change Jubilee per se. Although she is regular, she's not a vampire anymore, but that didn't happen in this book. And then Gambit, I'm wondering what they're going to do to change Gambit. But they just kind of sort of changed Rogue a little bit in this. Kind of sort of because she goes and she absorbs a werewolf And then she takes the skull because they need the skull, and then she actually goes and she wears the cloak. Think about how hot that is. And I'll show you the picture of it because it really does look badass, man. Um, it's like a little change, but it's just such a cool change. She comes flying down. She's like, "Yep, that's right. I got the cloak. I'm now wearing the cloak." Because these guys, these werewolves, are always wearing humans and mutant skins, and now she gets to wear one of their skins. And I'm sorry, that's just freaking awesome. That was just awesome. I dug on that. So anyway, what have you. Yeah, little tiny changes or big changes, but all of these characters are getting changed in some way to make them, I believe, more interesting. I dig on that. I definitely do. Anyway, oh, that Dark Horse. Which part of New Mexico? Because I used to live in Belen. It's about 45 minutes out of Albuquerque. But anyway, yeah, so I'm digging on this book at this point. I hope that it stays this good, and I hope it doesn't keep getting too unnecessarily confusing. It's also the only book that's really trying to use the Krakoan language written version, which again I don't really care, but it is what it is. I don't have a problem with it. For the most, I usually just ignore it, but I can read it anyway. I looked at it and I read it, and it was just like whatever. There's the one part in here that they tried throwing some stuff at us, and see if I could find it again really quick with Jamie on the stupid thing. He's talking about regicide. Shut up, man. Can't stand this cat. But here, so over here, yeah, they throw in werewolf. Um, okay, so here they say werewolf, and they actually translate. Well, they yeah, werewolf over here, and then down here they say Mojo verse, and it's only in Krakoan. So it's like, yeah, bang. So I don't know. It is what it is. Lynbrook, New Mexico, south of Farmingdale and Bloomfield. I didn't live there that long, and yeah, it's. I'm sorry, I'm not familiar with Lynbrook. Um, whereas in relation to Belen, if you get a chance, Fallen Angels was a chore. Didn't really like it. Fallen Angels was a chore. Make no mistake. I loved the book. I thought it was great. But sorry, let me actually highlight that comment. It was a chore, but I actually did like it because I know how Hickman how Hill writes. He was only meant to write the 4 issues, and he only wrote them because he had said a long time ago to Hickman, "Hey," and you know what? Honestly, just go and check out my interview that I did with Brian Edward Hill because he explains everything there. But yeah, he explained it was going to be very short lived. It was going to be the first one that ended quickly because he just wanted to work with Hickman again, or in the first place, and then just done because they'd always, they'd known each other for a while. Anyway, I liked the book. I definitely did. I thought that it was cool. Um, let's see if there's any questions in here that I can handle before I go because I need to sleep, man. Northwest of Belen, a couple hours north of Albuquerque. See, that's what's so funny because I'm actually from New Jersey, and you go a couple out, and I was actually from Central Jersey. I was right on the shore in Asbury Park. So if you went a couple hours in any direction, you were out of Jersey. You know what I'm saying? It's not that big. New Mexico, however, is so much bigger. But I've lived in Florida, Ohio, the Middle East. I mean, you name it. I've been all over the place. Um, it's the only book from Dawn of X that I cared about. Granted, still need to read X-Force, New Mutants, and Excalibur. Yeah, New Mutants is one of the books that people love the most. It was actually like the best-selling book of the previous month, which is wild. Yeah, but I liked Fallen Angels too. I did, but I know the way that Hill writes, and it's not for everybody. He says that, I say everybody says that, but some people don't realize that. It just is what it is. Fallen Angels was 6 issues, not 4. Didn't I say it was 6 issues? If I did say 4, it's only because I'm freaking exhausted, so I apologize. Love your videos on X-Men, man. Well, thank you, becoming a better nurse, and good luck in becoming a nurse. It's a very noble profession, and nurses should get paid more. And maybe that's just a name, I don't know. Tom's Comic Books and Reviews. What's going on? How you doing? Anybody else? X Factors seems to be promising. Agreed. Looking forward to that. Oh, guys, check out my uh, excuse me, my podcast. Actually, I have the link below. Yeah, it's in the description. It's going to be hard for me to actually find it and throw it in here, but find the link to the description in the description box below. Find the link there. I've only got two up. It's actually me and Chillmonger, and we're just kicking butt and taking names. Um, but like we talk for like an hour and a half every single Sunday. We just do this talk and we just yeah, so like if you enjoy hearing me talk and I'm mostly just monologuing, here's an opportunity for me to actually get challenged. And every so often we do run into like a conflict where it's like, hey, what do you think on such and such? I'm like, yeah, I didn't like it. He's like, yeah, how did you not like it? I loved it. I'm like, really? And then we'll debate the points and whatnot. And we're friends. So like, we get along. It's just every so often. Oh, look at that. And here's Chillmonger right here. Go and subscribe to his YouTube page because it's good stuff. And you'll see sometimes when we do disagree. You'll see sometimes when we do go back and forth. So if you've ever heard me say something where you're like, and you're just like, I disagree with you on such and such. Cool, man. Go and check out the podcast. You can actually listen to it on Buzzsprout or anywhere where you have your podcast. Just look it up, Comic Book University Podcast. Boom, and you'll find it. And then this way you can actually hear us discussing a whole bunch of things, including the House of X stuff. He gives his points, I give my points, the Dawn of X, excuse me. And if we disagree on something, we hash it out. You know what I'm saying? We'll argue the points, respectfully. Um, oh God, the Stan Lee debate is this weekend, dude. The Stan Lee debate is going to be interesting because he believes that nobody should get royalties for their stuff. And I believe they 100% deserve royalties. In fact, they deserve more, but whatever. So we could not be on farther sides of the fence on that. And I am looking forward to see, like, we haven't done it yet. And I'm genuinely looking forward to see like what he's got to say because I'm about to crush this fool, man. I'm just joking. You know that Chillmonger's actually a professional wrestler. He's not in WWE or AEW or anything yet, but he might actually be able to take me. Oh man. But yeah, that's going to be a very fun argument. Hard to find comic book stores here in the Philippines. Oof, I'm sorry, but I would kill to buy X Factor. Well, you're terrifying me right now, Oni. How long is Hickman going to be the ex showrunner? He's going to stay for as long as he wants to. If he wants to back out, he will. But I don't know, man. Like as long as it stays fresh, and I'm sure that once he leaves, there are so many outs. There are so many outs for these guys. And all it really takes is Magneto to step back into the age of X-Man because they already left on that. I know there were so many people who are like, "Why am I reading Age of X-Men when it doesn't mean anything? It's not going to go anywhere. We know it's going to end." It's funny that it turns out that all of those, thoughts and efforts were completely to waste because no, we're pretty much guaranteed to go back there again. You know what I'm saying? Like they said it at the very end. Magneto has the key to get back. Um, what have you? Until X-Men join the MCU. Well, actually, that's something that we're going to be talking about in the podcast also, because I actually keep a composition notebook of notes about things that we're going to talk about, and I know that Chillmonger does also. And one of the cool things about it is, check this out. Here's what's cool about it. We don't know what the other's going to talk about until right before the show starts. Like, yeah, I'm going to talk about this. And he's like, oh, okay, cool. I was going to talk about that too. He's, I'm going to talk about this. I'm like, oh, okay, interesting. I actually didn't hear about that. What's that about? You know what? Don't tell me. Let's find out in the podcast. Let's actually do it live. And vice versa. We keep on doing that. So both of us wind up coming across things that like we will find, but the other one won't, and we're learning about it right there on the spot. Some things we both already know about, but we have different opinions about. So like it's cool because it's actually a back and forth, and it's fun. You know what I'm saying? Um, who would you want to write the Avengers after Aaron? Me. First two issues of X-Men are so boring. I cannot disagree with you on that. I heard issue 5 should have been issue 1. It very well could have been. You're not wrong. Yeah, the Stan Lee debate is this weekend. But yeah, we're going to be talking about the X-Men joining the MCU because I've already got a bunch of notes written down about it. So, in fact, you know what? I'm not going to say that anymore because freaking Chillmonger's going to be like, "Ooh, well, let me look it up too." Nah, I want to get him on the spot. I want to catch that fool out there. So I want to watch him slipping. Justice and Firestar need to be part of the X-Men. I mean, Justice, come on. Uh, but both can join the New Mutants. They could. Might be a couple New Mutants dying pretty soon, so why not? Quantum Witch. I was wondering if they were ever going to go, if they were ever going to touch Age of X-Man. Yeah, it's open. It's open. If you saw Age of X-Man Omega, it's very open for them to return. It almost seems like it's inevitable for them to go back. I personally found it very telling that they waited until after Stan Lee passed away to make the X-Men an immortal pod people cult. Fantastic Four X-Men #1 made it seem like Xavier is up to something. Yeah, it undeniably um, does make it sound like that. But if you read all the books that have Xavier in it, it seems like he's up to something. Like this dude is a straight up suspect. You know what I'm saying? Like he is just not somebody that I would trust. If I call for a babysitter and Professor X shows up at my door with that freaking Cerebro on his head, I'm like, nah, bruh, I'm closing the door. You know what I'm saying? Um, Who's your favorite X-Men? Uh, I don't really do that. I don't. It's hard for me to do that. I know who my favorite character is. That's Captain America, then Hawkman, and then Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, then Aquaman. Who's my favorite X-Man? Honestly, I do, that's one of the things I love about the X-Men is that I don't have to have a favorite X-Man. There is no one X-Man that I root over the others. There are several that I'll root more than others, you know what I'm saying? But I don't have one that I'm just like, oh, they better treat this guy right, otherwise I'm going to be all sorts of. Nah, I enjoy just opening up an X-Men book, looking at the cover and be like, are all these people in it? Ooh, and open up and just read it. Because to me, honestly, as weird as it may sound, it's not the same as the Avengers. It's whose roster is always changing. Like every issue that it's sometimes like back in the day, especially the roster was always changing. It's not like the Defenders, where technically I like the second iteration of the Defenders rather than the others. But the X-Men to me was never about one mutant over another, including Wolverine. It was to me, it was always about this is a team. So who are my favorite X-Men? The X-Men, of course. Like it's a weird situation. I hope that kind of answers your question, but yeah, I'm just an X-Men fan. Santa Claus is a mutant. Where is he in Krakoa? Right? I think he got the Infinity Gauntlet not too long ago, so he's off doing his own thing. Wolverine and Jean Grey and Nightcrawler from Tank. He's also saying Gambit. This dude's come on, man. See, this is what I'm talking about. Rogue. He's an X-Man fan. He's not an individual fan. Um, uh, D. Use. D, oh, Deus Imperium. Everyone is so concerned about Chuck altering people when he revised them, but something seems very off-putting about him lately, right? What happened when he got revamped? Hmm. Nocturnal like Cyclops coming to better nurse. It does. Thank you. Okay, awesome. Tank Nielsen still answering. I love you, man. Crimson Prince, aka Edward. Which is why I like Fallen Angels. It was too Krakoa focused. It wasn't too Krakoa focused. True. It was a great way to explore Quanon, right? We haven't had a Quanon story, and basically, we had to wait this entire time for a true Quanon origin story. I'm saying, in Hill We Trust. You know what I'm saying? I loved it. I loved the backstory there. I like the trio in that book. Yeah, I don't think that Kid Cable really attributed too much to the party, but and it was really just a Quanon book. I felt like even X-23 was mostly just a backup character. But it is what it is. Lord King, but I am also a big Sabretooth fan. I think that when he's done the right way, he is such a formidable foe. You know what I'm saying? Happy birthday, bub. Tag, you're it. You know what I'm saying? Like I loved that. Just some guy, Apocalypse in a suit. That's worth the price of admission. Am I right? You know what I'm saying? Like, come on now. Anyway, so I have just gotten to the bottom of everything. Yeah, all of them because X-Men is my main team. So I'm going to bounce now because I am exhausted. Seriously, like I'm actually going to leave these books on the table. I'll put them away tomorrow, and I'm just going to go lay down and just go to sleep. I think my wife's already asleep. Yeah, so I'm out. Love you guys, seriously. So take care, be safe, all that good stuff. Oh, really quick, if you could throw something up in the in here or in the comment section. You guys are okay with this being later, right? Because I really am. I want to try and do this on Wednesday nights. We'll see. I have a game on Wednesday nights, and I don't air them yet. I will air them later, but I would have to do it at like I guess 10 o'clock. No, 9, 10, 11. I can maybe do it at 11 o'clock. This I kind of want to start doing early. This was just a really weird day because all of the teachers in Ontario, for the most part, are on strike. So the kids didn't go to school today. So slept in late, and we went and did shopping all day. I got a whole bunch of cool stuff. I got some cool. I got an entire set of the DC multiverse stuff, the collect and connect to make the rookie figure. I'm going to go out there and I'm probably going to film that stuff tomorrow and put that up on my other channel because I just don't have enough stuff on my other channel. But yeah, I do like doing that later, this video later, because I get a lot more interaction from you guys, a lot more questions, because there's been enough time for you guys to read the books. So there's that. um, what do you call it? Anyway, so yeah, you guys, I like this. I could never make the other ones. Okay, cool. So I'm going to try and make it for Wednesdays at 11. If not, it'll be Thursdays at around 10, 10 or 11. So yeah, yeah, I'll try and put the thing up in advance. I know for now, like I just have to actually make a day to do all that stuff. I got a really hectic schedule until the end of this month, so we'll see what happens. Anyway, guys, so I will talk to you guys later. Thanks a lot. Oh, and don't forget on the way out, phone this way, click like, please. I appreciate. Thank you very much. Professor Bill, Comic Book University. Class dismissed.